welcome to the SVG-TV news for Tuesday, August 29th. I am Khalil Kato with the details for tonight. Prime Minister Dr. Gonzales said Commissioner of Police Colin John has not resigned from the position and that he would not confirm nor deny whether or not the Commissioner has indicated, orally or in writing, a request for early retirement. PM Gonzales was responding to a question at a news conference today on the departure of the Commissioner and the search of a replacement in light of efforts that he is expected to leave the post next month.
I've heard people say that the Commissioner of Police has resigned. If you're in the public service all your life, you're going past 55, would you resign and lose your pension? I mean, it just doesn't make sense. I don't know of anything concerning the resignation of Colin John as Commissioner of Police. And I could say emphatically, Colin John has not resigned because it would be not within his interests. I mean, you just can't know the rules. Secondly, he's at an age where it is open to him to ask for early retirement. I'm not going to comment as to whether the Commissioner of Police has or has not asked for early retirement. But bear this in mind. If you ask for early retirement, any official, any public official, the Public Service Commission, and in this case, the Police Service Commission, will have to concur. Will have to say yes. I'm not aware that of any such matter. So that's my answer to you, and I answer that whether the Commissioner of Police has intimated orally or in writing his request to demit, his request for early retirement, sorry. I said to you that I'm not going to either confirm or deny that. But I explain it because the question was posed as though there's some fait accompli about something. Which I'm not aware of.
The Prime Minister said that when that occasion arises, if that occasion arises, the country will know, but at the moment there is no announcement to be made. Efforts are continuing to address the challenges with intra-regional transport. This is according to the Prime Minister, who said that he has studied a document which he received from the President of the Caribbean Development Bank confirming the re-establishment of a regional airline.
There's some work still to be done. The finalization, and we have to meet. After this meeting, I have to, after this press briefing, I have to talk to the President of the CDB. Because some clarification on some things and some next steps, and we will have to meet the OECS heads and the CDB again. But we are moving seriously and actively in pursuance of an additional option in the air to what we have, and we have to thank Cal for the number of planes they're putting on more and the increasing number of seats. They're having some challenges, as you noticed recently. I'm sure they will sort out those internal challenges between management and labor. And I know one or two private airlines are trying to do this or that. But we need something which is a core. And to have it evolve in a manner to suit our circumstances and all our requirements.
In terms of the plans for the new airline setup, Prime Minister Gonzales said the OECS countries will be the initial owners and they may have to engage the Caribbean Development Bank in the exercise. He said its headquarters have not yet been agreed upon. However, the Argyle International Airport site is a good place and he is offering it for consideration. On the lessons learned from the experience of the former Liat 1974 airline as they put plans in place for the new setup, PM Gonzales said a regional airline of a Liat type is a marginal financial preposition but is absolutely necessary and desirable for social and economic purposes.
Particularly for islands and touristic economies. One. Secondly, that countries served by this airline should be equity partners, or we should require market support. Thirdly, we have to try to make the airline fairly lean in its functioning so as to avoid some of the old legacy issues. Those are some basic lessons which we have learned. We need also to strengthen the Eastern Caribbean Civil Aviation Authority. That's not a lesson learned, but that is something which is accompanying all what is being done, the regulatory framework.
There is no short-term concern for retirees and pensioners in terms of the loans that have been issued to the government of SVG by the National Insurance Services, the NIS. This is according to Actuary Derek Osborne, who was asked the question on WFM's Issues at Hand program on Sunday.
I haven't looked really at the governance and Vincent credit rating recently, but from what I see from the diversification of the fund, 12% local government, 25% statutory bodies, there's 9% other governments around the region, and 54% in other. Good diversification. I see no reason here to worry about the portion held in government as being a concern. As I said, the fund is they're actually very liquid, and quite a bit of money has been held in cash, both locally in bank deposits and overseas. And so there's really no short-term concern about the ability to pay pensions or pay benefits, in the short term. Definitely not.
In reference to the criticisms on the relationship between the NIS and the Bank of SVG as having it as its primary deposit facility, the actuary says the NIS is not intended to be a bank and it should not be competing with BOSVG.
And the bank's purpose is to facilitate, whether it be people to hopefully do productive things, mortgages, businesses, and so forth. And so once NIS is getting a fair rate of return on their deposits, right, then I think for NIS, it's a good investment to also have some money in your country that's available for small people and other larger businesses to borrow from locally to create activity to build the economy, right? So I think it's probably around how much million is in the bank of St. Vincent. I don't have it right away, but certainly at this level of exposure, I'm not quite sure how much of the deposits in the bank are from NIS. That I don't know, but certainly from NIS standpoint, and well, I guess the bank made a loss last year for 6 months, made a profit this year, bigger than the loss from last year. And again, those things happen. COVID was a special case. So and just for information, I think the NIS holds a significant shareholding in the Bank of St. Vincent, the Bank of SVG. And when you look at the NIS financial statements, they do treat the bank as an associate company, I think it's called, and therefore a share of their profits are included on NIS statements. Mm-hmm. So when you see NIS statements, it includes how the performance of the Bank of SVG, and for the most part, I think has been positive. Mm-hmm. So again, the relationship is not as bad. It's not, I don't think, a concern. So, some other countries, I'll tell you, there's one other particular country in the OECS where essentially the Social Security scheme NIS lends the bank at say 4%, mm-hmm. and they go and lend everybody at 8%. Mm-hmm. And some of the stuff that NIS could possibly do, So it's not fair for Social Security. They're not getting a fair rate of interest compared to what the bank is making. And so I haven't seen any uncovered any concerns here yet.
On the question of overlapping the directorship between both institutions, Osborne said if the NIS is a shareholder in the bank, it is good to have some level of participation on the board of the bank to monitor things at the board level.
I don't know the mix of the size of the board compared to NIS participation, but certainly, so NIS I think should participate on the bank's board, vice versa. I think your board has 9 members, having 2 members who cross. It's a small country, and talent is a challenge, and good governance, and we talk about demographics, but I believe good governance trumps all of that, right? And good governance goes back to even being proactive when it comes to thinking about common entrance being smaller, next time and so forth. All those things are good governance, and so I can't comment much more on that in terms of the overlapping directors.
Meanwhile, on the SVG Teachers Union Talk program on Sunday discussing pension reform and union matters, guest Kijo Peters said a clear distinction has to be made in regards to the function of the NIS, which he said should be a social insurance protection program and not a social welfare program.
Of course, but everybody has to play their role. The government's role is social welfare, in my view.
Precise.
Right? And the NIS is social insurance protection.
Precise.
One of the recommendations, that was placed in the review, which I don't think we ever heard from the NIS or anybody on the minister side, the government side. Change the investment committee or the composition, whoever makes up, change that.
Right.
Now you're wondering, why would they say that?
Right.
They say change the composition of the investment committee. That is one of the, and here it is a high priority recommendation.
Right.
But that was never listed in the ministerial statement.
Right.
You never hear the NIS personnel speak about it. Why? All we're hearing is increase this,
Increase, yes.
increase the age, increase the early, but you're not hearing change the investment committee.
And you're talking.
The investment committee is made up of the director,
Right.
the chairman,
Right.
and 3 members of the board.
Right.
Right?
Oh, no.
The actuary said, this is what the actuary said. Change 2 of the 3 board members.
Right.
We want 2 non-board members.
Right.
And we want them with investment background,
Right.
finance background,
Right.
and business-related
That
background.
makes perfect sense.
Right? This is what the actuary said.
Right.
Yeah.
And here they say too, the chairman of the board,
Uh-huh.
I would like for him to be separated from the chairman of the investment committee.
Right.
So,
And they say this is to ensure independence. That is what the actuary said. Now, when you look at the investment, you might say, why they want to change them? I always say don't change a good thing. Right? Some might say change from good to better. But in this case, we have evidence that there are some things that are questionable.
Right.
I look at, this is what the actuary said. He said you have 17% of your reserves
Right.
not being utilized. It's just they lying there.
yeah.
Right.
It's like you have
a bank of savings.
yeah, it's just lying there. It's not being utilized to bring in monies. He
Right.
said that's too high.
They don't know
You have to invest a little more, but 17% is too high.
Right.
You had too much in the regional program. Now,
Right.
the NS director was listening to him and he said the regional markets, they're not as lucrative as international markets, fairly stagnant.
Yeah.
Right.
The actuary said, listen, you need to invest more overseas
Yeah,
at the
to the international
appropriate risk so you could get more money.
Right.
That's what they said. Now, that these are some of the reasons why they're probably saying change it.
Right.
Tomorrow, the NIS will hold a panel discussion to sensitize the Vincentian public on pension reform, bridge the gaps in the understanding of the pension reform process, and build public confidence and support in pension reform. Remarks are expected to be delivered by Minister of Finance and Economic Planning, Camilo Gonzales, and presentations made by NIS Executive Director Stuart Haynes, Deputy Governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, Valda Henry, Actuary Derek Osborne, and consulting actuaries Tellus Health and Judith Vera. Wednesday's panel discussion will be held at the NIS conference room from 6 p.m. There has been a delay of the public report on the 2023 CXC results for candidates here in SVG. In a news release issued by the Ministry of Education today, although students and their schools have already gained access to the preliminary results of the examinations, the ministry is unable to present a summary and comparative analysis of the overall performance due to a number of issues with the results yet to be resolved by CXC. Officials from the Ministry of Education are in contact with the relevant personnel at CXC and are awaiting a response to several queries which were lodged with the examination body following the official results. That should be following the official release of results on Friday in St. Kitts and Nevis. Speaking at a leadership seminar today, Minister of Education Curtis King explains the reason for the delay in issuing a public report of the results for the 2023 examinations done by SVG's candidates.
Despite the fact that you have access to the results, the Ministry of Education makes public a report on the performance of the students, the various subjects, and at the various schools. Now, the results were released by CXC on Friday 25th, and we are now Tuesday 29th, and persons have not heard from the ministry. Well, I should say by this morning, the public should have heard from the ministry. As to the reason why we have not yet presented that usual report that we do. The fact is that we have many issues concerning the results of the examinations, and we have raised these issues with CXC with the hope that they will work very expeditiously to resolve these issues. And so we have not yet received the responses that would allow us to make public a report that is reliable and accurate. So hence the reason why you have not heard from us as yet. Soon though, I believe we should be able to make a preliminary report public.
Minister King used the opportunity to congratulate the Vincentian students on their personal and collective performances on the CAPE, CSEC, and CCLC exams based on the preliminary results, noting that this year they have seen an improvement over the last year's performance.
What I will say, and I will make two comments. Looking at the results that we have thus far, it is clear that we have made a positive advance over last year's performance at the CSEC level, as we did in CPEA. And I make the point, as I did back then, I make it today again, that coming out of what we experienced, the pandemic and the volcanic eruption, it was naturally going to happen where we would have experienced some decline. Because let us face it, some students suffered significantly from the loss of instructional time. And despite our valiant effort, all of us, from the ministry right down to the level of the classroom teacher, despite the valiant effort at doing online delivery, we know we had challenges and we know there were many gaps. So last year, where CXC was concerned, the performance was not as we had expected, or should I say, not as we usually perform. But I'm happy this year that it is showing that we are recovering.
Chief Education Officer K. Martin Jack is encouraging school leaders to focus on the light of the transformation and development that is taking place in education in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and which will begin at the start of the new academic year. The Chief Education Officer was at the time addressing a Leadership in Action Principle seminar this morning at the UWI Open campus. Martin Jack further encouraged school leaders to embrace each other as they continue their journey of transforming lives.
Focus on the current developments in the education arena, here at home and the world over. Allow yourselves to be drawn into the light which shines through in the implementation of inclusive education among several of our primary and secondary schools commencing at the start of this year. Pay attention to the light that shines through in the revision of our primary school curriculum, the light that shines in the advancement of new technology and artificial intelligence, education management and information systems, and other tools which help to bolster the teaching and learning experience. As we endeavor to focus on the light, let us be centered by the idea of better school leaders who are responsive to the needs of their students and teachers, who will recognize that education, as it is required now, is all-encompassing and strives to add academic knowledge as well as to help to build moral and ethical fortitude among our student population. In the glare of this light, which signifies hope, let us embrace each other and recognize that we are all on a journey to transform lives and build a nation that is robust, resilient, and resourceful.
Minister of Education Curtis King, who also addressed the seminar, reminded the school leaders of their responsibility in ensuring that they play their part in whatever role to the best of their ability.
We get lost, and we do not recognize these simple but important things. And I do so because I want you to recognize that given the temporary nature of our sojourn, it is our responsibility, therefore, to make sure that while we are in whatever role we are in, we play our part. We make a significant contribution so that at the end of the day, we can feel satisfied that we made that effort. I want to congratulate all those leaders who were appointed since we last had our gathering, principal meetings, and to wish them all the best in what could be a very rewarding term of duty. But do not forget that it is not going to be easy.
A number of topics are set to be discussed, including artificial intelligence, recording teacher performance, and best practices for students' councils. Over 10 females are more knowledgeable in cake baking and cake decoration after successfully completing a 3-month-long course in adult and continuing education. The skills training program, which ran from May to July, was held under the theme Never Too Big to Learn. Giving an overview of the program, facilitator Jessica Best said it began on Wednesday, May 10th and ended on July 7th. Best also outlined some of the lessons that the students learned during the training sessions and other skills that were harnessed.
But we went forward nevertheless, and I can truly say I am very happy. I am proud not only of myself, but for my participants, my students, even though some of them are much older than myself, but I am very happy. I saw a determination in the students, even those virtual ones. I reached my people home teaching them because I really wanted them to get it. That's me. I would try to go the extra mile. And I said early in the maths, I said, listen, if you're coming here, and you know you're not going to take this serious, it doesn't make sense you come. Because you're wasting my time and the others' time in the class. So make sure you take everything out of it that you can get. I also said to some of these designs that you're going to do will make you cry. It will make you want to throw away the cake. It will make you want to run away and come back, and so forth and so forth. And so said, so done, not so. So said, so done. I made sure prepare them all up in the maths that, okay, it's not an easy run through.
The facilitator also spoke of the importance of learning a skill, noting that skills run the world, and encouraged the participants to make good use of theirs and continue to use it as a development to their lives.
Please value the skill that you have gotten over the past couple weeks, months, however long we had our course for. Take it and go out there, not only just do a little something, even if you're doing it just for your family. At the end of the day, persons are going to say, Miss Richards did that, Miss Solon did that, Miss Isaacs did that, and you want yourself to look proper, sell yourself properly. And of course, you have to sell me properly too, because I showed you a little something, right? My participants, I urge you to always, any skill that you can get involved in, take it. Take it, because at the end of the day, nobody can take that skill away from you. Nobody can take that skill away from you. And even if you're not a participant, you're here, nobody can take that skill away from you. And you never know, with your skill, you might be encouraging someone else to go along with it. I've done how much free cakes? I tell my participants, let your family members be your guinea pigs. I don't mean it in a bad way. You have to use them as practice. I've done so much free cakes, given away so much free cakes, and even sometimes I'm like, this can't work. My sister is my biggest critic. When I think something look good and I'm jumping up, yeah, she's like, where you going with that?
The St. Vincent and the Grenadines Coast Guard Summer Program came to a close on Saturday at the Coast Guard Base in Caliacor. The theme of this year's program was 30 years of shaping our youth's lives. That should be 30 years of shaping our youths for life's high seas. The 146 participants received certificates at the closing ceremony on Saturday. In his address, Commissioner of Police Colin John encouraged the participants to continue to strive for excellence in their academic pursuits.
And from day one, you can't wait until you reach at that stage to try and get up to scratch. You have to make sure from day one that you set your goals and you aim at it. For O, I would say that you have to be organized and you have to be disciplined. Organization entails, first of all, turning up to school, because Mr. Sam is here. He has spoken to me on several occasions about students who not turning up to school and some turning up late. Discipline and organization also involve adhering to the laws of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and to the school's bylaws and the school's constitution and standards. We have seen a lot of youngsters these days, they are experimenting with cannabis and other drugs. It is a sad situation, and you, despite of your academic qualifications, can find yourself being disqualified from scholarships or from other positions because having undertaken a drug test, you have failed. And then you have to resort to something that you do not want to do. Because of what? Because you are not disciplined and because you are not organized enough. I say you have to be useful and offer utility. St. Vincent and the Grenadines should be a better place as a result of your effort. You should add utility to St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Commissioner John also encouraged the participants to be trustworthy citizens of SVG.
Replace your character. When it's gone, it's gone. You may see someone in school with iPhone, the latest 14 Pro Max. If you to enjoy whatever, well, I'm not the Android, I'm the iPhone person, so I don't really enjoy equivalent to that. And then you might covet that person's phone, and before you know that, you are arrested and you have a criminal record, and then some time down the road, you have a job opportunity, or you have an opportunity to go to college, and you have to go to the Commissioner of Police, whoever he, she, or it is, and say, well, I need for you to assist me to get a clean police record because of some action that you may have undertaken when you were younger. So I'm encouraging you from day one to ensure that you are trustworthy and that you maintain your integrity.
The new ambassador of the Republic of China, Taiwan to SVG, Her Excellency Fiona Hui Chun-Fan, also addressed the Coast Guard Summer Program closing ceremony. She noted that August 15th marked 42 years of the official establishment of relations between the Republic of China, Taiwan, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and that they are committed to deepening the level of cooperation in key areas including agriculture, education, technology, and infrastructure.
Of our diplomatic relations between Taiwan and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And over the 42 years, we enjoyed a profound friendship and robust cooperation in various areas, including infrastructure, agriculture, healthcare, ICT technology, education, and culture. Taiwan's story is one of resilience, a nation that stands as a beacon of vibrant democracy, celebrating freedom, creativity, and innovation. Taiwan is a powerhouse of technology, as our foundries provide 70% of the worldwide semiconductor chip. So I believe some of the mobile phones you are using now would contain chips made in Taiwan. And with great pride and joy, within the first month of my arrival, I had co-hosted 3 ceremonies. Yesterday, I signed an agreement with the agriculture ministers on the improving vegetable cultivation management and improving livestock rearing project, holding the promise of not nurturing food security, but also transforming agriculture. We aim to shape the bright and prosperous future for farmers, and especially young farmers, with smart agriculture technology with IoT solutions.